think that's what's so interesting about not only, this kind of hybrid form of expression, but it's also an international, global culture in general. And obviously with the internet we're able to share those things, but you kind of have like a very strong parallel between hip-hop and punk and like DIY culture and hip-hop and grassroots and the way that information travels. And both of those kind of art forms definitely came up with the rise of the internet itself. And you take Public Enemy's branding, or obviously the iconic like Wu-Tang logo, and you can have people in all different countries. It's like it's a really unifying force, which is the same thing as music. And I think that's why I don't know, just to throw that out there if anyone has anything they want to add to.
I think that it is wrong for any musician to view the changing landscape right now as that galleries are allowing, because they've been expanded conceptually, or our society is expanded, that they're allowing musicians in. It's the other way around. Musicians should feel totally empowered by the fact that galleries need them, which is what I'm trying to say. And I'm trying to say that they need them financially, because their entire system right now is going from a very closed system to one that needs numbers. They need to be able to, the same way that like a club has to be like, they don't have to say, like some clubs work based on like, we have the best parties, but then the question is like, was anyone there? I just went to India recently, which was an amazing experience, and my friend with me, he's Indian, so he was like showing me around, both for going to the customs office for India, because it's like you can't just like show up, you have to actually like apply, because it's much more complicated, and then also for himself having to like get on the plane and getting back. He was very adamant about wearing a Wu-Tang shirt in all of those situations, and he explained this beforehand. He was like, I have this theory that there is a secret like understanding amongst all security officials that they are like down with Wu-Tang, and if I wear this shirt, no matter where we go, if it's like a security situation, even if I like don't have the right stuff or whatever, they'll all be like,
it actually works in places, people.
I'm telling you, this just happened like 3 weeks ago. He was 100% right. I didn't know if I could believe him, but it worked. He like didn't have the right paperwork, and then they just like gave him the visa. He like showed up really late to the airport.
So we need a licensing fee on that.
Yeah. I'll definitely let him know.
I always think that the pop song is almost like a tool for a DJ. So you can use those to your advantage when you need them, and I think they allow you to get the room to a certain place where then you can play the stuff that they may not recognize as easily.
Yeah, I sometimes see the pop song as a live band would use a cover song, right? When you're starting to lose the crowd, you throw in something they'll recognize to bring them back. Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely second that one.
And do you guys play a lot of your own remixes? I know you've remixed Robin and all those kids.
I end up not playing a lot of my own remixes as often as I think you think you would. I never play my sets out, so I always kind of feel the room, and for some reason I don't know why they never like jump up at me, and I think like, oh yes, this moment, like I need this song. I think it's probably in a different place in my brain because I thought about that song differently than I think about the other songs that I like, more remixes and edits that I play. I think, I don't know, maybe because I've done production on it, it sits in a different place in my head, so it doesn't like pop out when in the middle of the set. I'm like, yes, right now this song is perfect. But when I play with a violinist, and we do a lot of our original edits and remixes, and with her I do actually play those remixes because a lot of them have strings on them, so then like her strings over the strings that we have already laid down really complement them. So
you play with a violinist out?
Yeah, in my DJ set. So I DJ sometimes just alone, and then sometimes if it's more of a performance or a special event, I play with a violinist. Her name is Caitlin, no.
That's brilliant. I did a show with Michelle and Cello, and she was like, okay, you just play 3 songs, and then my drummer's going to come in and play some stuff. Just play whatever you want. It's crazy. And then she would come in, and her drummers like started mixing into my beats, and then she's like, all right, I'm going to play 2 songs, and next song you go in. And I had to like mix back in. We went back and forth. We never practiced it, never did, but it was the organic aspect of it was so rad. So I love that you have a violinist out there. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's great. I call her sometimes my third turntable. She just like comes in exactly when I like needed that, like something, like, oh, because this song was like kind of like, or I needed to mix in something, or it's like bam, she's like in there. I'm like, oh yeah.
I would love it. I'm gonna loop a beat, play a lot of it, and then I gotta go pee.
I think these 3 DJs are they're so amazingly talented and such at great places in their career that they can do what DJs are truly meant to do, which is interpret music and be a filter for average people. So much music out there, hard to really figure it out. They rely on you guys to really distill it down to something meaningful, add your creative flair to it, and present it. So you kind of become a filter, and that's an amazing role. A lot of DJs, sort of the working class, they have to play the
of course.
songs. That's part of the business model of the clubs or the venues that hire them. So I think when you get to great places like you guys are, you can add so much more creativity to it.
You know what we were talking about? We were talking about before that not to whatever, I'll just say it. Is the difference in what happens is you get people like us, as if you stick to your path, you keep doing what you're doing, you keep plugging away, and you stay persistent, you build that audience, and you do what you love and you enjoy it. Eventually you get to the point where you get people to feel what you're putting out, they follow along, and then what we were talking about is you become a hard ticket sale. And that's the difference. What I mean by a hard ticket sale is there's millions of different DJs, and like we were saying, I'm not knocking any of them. I've done some of this stuff, some of my great friends do it, but there's people that have to just play the top 40 hits in the bar or whatever club, because that's everybody wants to dance to those songs. And that's cool, and you get paid. Some people get a name in that world, and they get paid more than others, and it's great. But when you start to get people to show up just because you're there, because your name is on the flyer, then you're a hard ticket seller. You're the reason that people are coming to buy that ticket. And that's when everything changes. And you could really make a lot more money that way, and you could really, really do what you want and what you feel. And I think this is the path that way, is just to stick to your guns.
I'd have done it in 2 seconds.
There's a lot of people, they got guys on there, and I just looked at my career and what I worked for, and I'm like, KRS-One's DJ, and the guy from Rocksteady Crew doesn't wear a dress on the Ellen Show, and I've got tons of fans, and I make money, and I'm not going to go back on that. Or Wiz Khalifa had asked me to DJ for him, and I don't like that type of music. I hate commercial rap stuff. And I said no.
Wow, you really are a downer, aren't you?
Well, because the thing is...
I'm kidding you.
No. But here's the thing is that where a lot of my friends would say I'm a maniac because they see Wiz Khalifa on television, but they don't see me and Rozelle do 30 shows in France and do shows in Australia and another 10 in Japan, and then we're here, and I've done 1,500 shows around the world where they might have did some concerts. They do the Summer Jam concerts. But there's a reason that A-Track and Craze quit DJing for Kanye, because you don't want to be a stage prop.
No, but I mean, you're talking, and it's like a band.
Right.
You got to stick to your guns. You got to do what you got to do. How many of you guys here are in bands? Okay, 1,
All right.
2. Okay, good. You're the next DJs.
Yep.
But better. Like, not like fucking what's his name, Fall Out Boy or whatever. But not them. But you have kids like like Madion. I mean, who will throw in like snippets of hits and bring it in really hardcore. Do you think he's kind of a sellout?
If it works for him, that's fine. I mean, it's to me more of a sellout is when you just start doing stuff strictly for the wrong reasons. Like they had the conversation about, say, like in the hip hop world, it's like, oh, Lil Wayne's a sellout and this guy's the real hip hop guy. I don't really look. I mean, a lot of those guys, they just make stuff that I don't like, or to an intelligence level that's not really I don't see eye to eye with some of those people. But they're doing what they love and what they grew up and what they learned, so they're not really selling out. When you're doing it strictly for money, you can tell when you see certain guys, and like one time they're hard, they shave their heads and they're in camouflage, then they have an R&B song, then they have a rock band, and then they're a house DJ, and then and it's like, all right, pick one. What are you?
I love that. I mean, that's very true to what you're doing. I think that's
Yeah,
great.
I mean, when you just stay true to yourself, I mean, that's, if being true, I have friends, like my friend Spinbad is being true to himself. He plays music I hate, but he's being true to himself, and, I mean, he wants to cut up Kelly Clarkson, that's awesome, good. Not my thing.
I think Maddion, like if his claim to fame was his video where he had the little APC 40 light up controller in the dark, and he mixed up, if you watch the beginning of the video, 40 of my favorite songs. And if you listened to that little 3-minute piece that he composed and remixed live, it was 40 really dope songs. Like, they came from all these different places. I think Madonna was in there, maybe Rihanna, a couple more But, so he had that, and that was where he got his 12 million views, and somebody at, some label said, oh, let's look at this kid. He's got 12 million views on YouTube. He's selling something. So then he goes and he makes his music, and his music's, it's all right. He's got his sound. It's a little bit dubstep. It's a little bit house. It's, what every 12 to 18-year-old might want to listen to.
It's interesting. I saw the MPC thing after my introduction to him was the Razor Weapon remix for Deadmau5. That was sick. That's such a good remix. I mean, he took the song to a whole new level, and it's quite frankly better than his own stuff. I think that's where his strength lies in his remixes, really.
I mean, well, it's I do a lot of remixes, a lot of bootlegs and stuff like that, and when you're taking an already established working piece of art, I think of songs as a DJ as if they work or not. If Kelly Clarkson comes out with a track and it works, if every single girl in the club just goes crazy, I'm going to play it. Why? Because when I DJ, I want to play the best tools that are available to me.